Welcome, my little cauldrons of curiosity, to the Strange History Podcast, where we open dusty old books, tiptoe into abandoned cemeteries, and occasionally summon something weird by accident. I'm your host, Amy, and today we're strapping on our pointy hats, not just for fashion, but because we're diving broom first into one of the strangest, most misunderstood spiritual movements of the modern age. Today's topic, Wicca. Let me be clear that I am not a witch, do not practice Wicca, and grew up going to a lovely Lutheran church, but I have been known to light a candle or two, and may or may not have saged an old house I lived in once due to what may or may not have been a ghost. The house had been built in 1863, and let's just say that's a whole other podcast. Now let's dive in. Before you start picturing green-skinned crones throwing hexes or teenagers whispering spells in Hot Topic cloaks, hold that thought. Because the real story of Wicca is far weirder, far more human, and deeply rooted in both ancient lore and modern rebellion. We're talking sacred groves, nudist rituals, court cases, goddesses, gods with antlers, bonfires, moonlight ceremonies, and yes, more than a few ceremonial daggers. It's a tale of spiritual reawakening, cultural remixing, and a surprising amount of incense. So grab your athame, charge your crystals, and please, for the love of all that's holy, don't break the salt circle. Let's get magical. Take it away, Dan.
Wait, Wicca's not ancient? Plot twist number 1. Wicca is not actually ancient.
Yes, it borrows heavily from pre-Christian traditions, but as a structured religion, it was, brace yourself, invented in the mid-20th century. That's right, Wicca is about as old as color television and the drive-thru burger. Enter Gerald Gardner, British civil servant by day, part-time nudist, and full-time magical enthusiast by night. Gardner claimed to have been initiated into a secret coven of witches in England's New Forest in 1939. According to him, this group was a surviving pocket of pre-Christian witchcraft. After the repeal of the British Witchcraft Act in 1951, Gardner decided to go public. He published Witchcraft Today in 1954 and described a religion centered around nature worship, dual deities, seasonal festivals, and ceremonial magic. He also admitted to adding elements from ceremonial magic, Aleister Crowley, Freemasonry, and Old English folklore. In short, Wicca was a magical mixtape, and Gardner was the DJ.
Meet the gods, horns, moons, and balance.
Wicca doesn't subscribe to the typical bearded guy in the clouds model. Instead, it honors a goddess and a god, two forces in sacred balance. The goddess. She's the moon, the earth, the ocean tides, and the womb of all creation. She appears in 3 aspects, maiden, mother, and crone, representing youth, fertility, and wisdom. Kind of like your friend group if you've ever gone wine tasting on a weekend. The horned god. He's wild, antlered, and symbolizes the sun, the hunt, animals, and masculine vitality. He's born at Yule, mates at Beltane, dies at Samhain, and is reborn again. Talk about commitment to the cycle of life. Together, the goddess and god represent duality and harmony, light and dark, male and female, intuition and action.
Ritual life of a modern witch.
Wicca is experiential. It's about doing, casting, celebrating, syncing with the seasons, and moon. The wheel of the year. Wiccans observe 8 Sabbats on the seasonal wheel. Samhain, October 31st. The witch's new year, a time to honor ancestors. Yule, winter solstice. Rebirth of the sun, light your candles. Imbolc, February 1st. Midwinter festival of light, hope, and Brigid. Ostara, spring equinox. Fertility and balance. Yes, this is where Easter gets its vibe. Beltane, May 1st. Fire, passion, and, historically, tasteful nudity. Letha, summer solstice. Sun at its peak. Also, SPF 50. Lammas, August 1st. First harvest. time for bread, blessings, and maybe a pie. Mabon, autumn equinox, balance and thanksgiving. Esbats are held on full moons to honor the goddess. Witches gather, cast spells, and maybe snack afterward, because even under the moonlight, carbs are sacred. Ritual tools include atame, a ritual knife for directing energy, a magic wand, channeling intention, not waving at owls. A chalice represents the feminine. The pentacle, five-pointed symbol of balance. A bowline, white-handled knife for practical magic, like snipping herbs.
Wicca and paganism, a spiritual family tree.
Wicca is a form of modern paganism, but paganism as a whole is a wide and ancient umbrella. Picture a massive gnarled tree with countless branches, Celtic druids chanting by oak groves, Norse heathens honoring Thor, Hellenic polytheists whispering prayers to Aphrodite. Wicca is one of the newer twigs on that tree, lush with leaves, yes, but firmly rooted in old soil. Where paganism refers to a wide array of pre-Christian polytheistic belief systems across cultures and time periods, Wicca is a recent, ritual-rich expression inspired by many of those paths. Wicca borrows from Celtic seasonal festivals, goddess worship and divine duality, nature reverence and animism, ritual magic traditions and ceremonial symbolism. Here's how they differ. Wicca and paganism are related but distinct spiritual paths. Paganism is a broad umbrella term used to describe a wide variety of polytheistic, nature-based, and often earth-honoring spiritual traditions. These can include Norse heathenry, Hellenic polytheism, Druidry, Chemeticism, and many other belief systems that seek to revive or reimagine the ancient religions of Europe, the Mediterranean, and beyond. Paganism has no single founder, holy book, or centralized doctrine. It's a category, not a specific religion. Wicca, on the other hand, is a specific modern pagan religion that originated in the 1950s Britain, popularized by Gerald Gardner. It blends elements of ceremonial magic, folk traditions, and Western occultism with reverence for nature and a duotheistic belief in a goddess and a god. Wiccans follow a structured set of rituals, often celebrate the Wheel of the Year, 8 seasonal festivals, and adhere to ethical guidelines like the Wiccan Reda, "An it harm none, do what ye will," and the concept of the threefold law, which suggests that energy you put into the world, good or bad, returns to you threefold. While Wicca is one of the most recognizable branches of modern paganism, many pagans do not identify as Wiccan and may instead follow cultural or ancestral traditions with entirely different deities, cosmologies, and moral systems. So, while Wicca is a form of paganism, not all pagan paths are Wiccan. Paganism is the forest, and Wicca is just one of the many trees.
Famous faces behind the pentacle.
Let's talk Wiccan celebrity. No, not broom-riding red carpet witches, but the real movers and shakers of the magical revival. Doreen Valiente, the poetic backbone of early Wicca. She helped refine the rituals, wrote beautifully evocative liturgy, and gave the movement a touch of grace and groundedness. Doreen Edith Domini Valiente was an English Wiccan who was responsible for writing much of the early religious liturgy within the tradition of Gardnerian Wicca. An author and poet, she also published 5 books dealing with Wicca and related esoteric subjects. Raymond Buckland, the man who brought Wicca to America. His complete book of witchcraft became the starter kit for generations of would-be witches. It's basically the magical IKEA manual with candles. Gavin Bone and Janet Farrar, Wiccan power couple, authors, and ritual leaders, they helped spread Wicca worldwide and modernized its teachings for the next generation. Stevie Nicks, sort of. While never claiming to be Wiccan, she became a magical muse to many. Her style, music, and moon-drenched mystique are a whole aesthetic. She's the unofficial priestess of dreamy vibes, Firuza Balk, star of The Craft. Balk wasn't just acting. She studied Wicca and even owned an occult shop in Los Angeles. For many, she was the 90s gateway to the craft. Lori Cabot, declared the official Witch of Salem by Massachusetts governor in the 1970s. She founded the Cabot tradition of witchcraft and has authored several books that became must-reads for young witches everywhere.
Nature is sacred, and so is your compost pile.
At its core, Wicca teaches that nature is divine, not metaphorically, literally. The earth is sacred, the moon is sacred, your herb garden, also sacred. Wiccans grow their own herbs and flowers, time their actions with moon cycles, celebrate seasons with reverence, leave offerings to trees or simply hug them, reuse their spell jars because sustainability is sexy. It's eco-spirituality with a side of stardust.
The backlash, the boom, and the broom closet.
Of course, Wicca's rise wasn't all smooth sailing. In the 1980s satanic panic, Wiccans were swept up in moral hysteria, accused of being something they weren't, namely, Satanists. Newsflash: Wiccans don't believe in Satan. In 1986, the U.S. case Detmer versus Landon legally recognized Wicca as a religion when a prisoner sued for the right to practice. The court ruled in his favor, setting legal precedent. Then came the 90s witch boom. The Craft, Buffy, Charmed. Wicca stepped into pop culture, cloaked in eyeliner and attitude.
The old religion, reimagined.
So what is Wicca? It's part spiritual revival, part modern invention. It honors ancient pagan roots while embracing modern values like feminism, environmentalism, and personal empowerment. Wiccans don't care if you call them weird. They're too busy moonbathing, tending their altars, and whispering spells to their cats. Wicca isn't for everyone, but it does offer something precious, a way to find the sacred in the soil, in the stars, and in the everyday rhythm of nature. So the next time someone scoffs at witchcraft, remember, Wicca isn't devil worship. It's a living, breathing, earth-honoring path rooted in ancient ways, reborn for modern seekers. I'm Amy, and this has been the Strange History Podcast. If today's episode stirred your cauldron or just made you chuckle, give us a magical little boost. Subscribe, rate, and share it with your favorite moonchild. Until next time, stay strange, stay sacred, and don't forget to sweep your energy as well as your floors.